So, in general, oxygen supplies the crew and passengers when they are at altitudes where we're in a pressurized cabin. We are flying at 30,000 feet. Then we know there's not much oxygen up there. So we have to regulate oxygen breathing in the cabin. However, if there is a rapid decompression, we have to then be supplied with oxygen because of the differential pressure and the lack of oxygen at altitude. So there are several types of oxygen that can be provided to the flight crew, to the passengers, as we said, and there are also during regular flight, portable or medical oxygen on board if required, or if and as required. These are in portable cylinders throughout the cabin for safety and emergency purposes. We'll start with the crew oxygen. So the crew, regardless of aircraft, regardless if you're on 318, 319, 20, 21, the oxygen for the crew comes in 4 containers. Okay, I know they put here 3 with option of a 4th. So this dotted line around this is the 4th one. All 320s, for the purposes of this presentation, come with 4 provisions for oxygen for 4 possible crew members. Okay, and we said it's provided in case of a rapid decompression. They can have oxygen, or if there was smoke in the cockpit and they couldn't breathe properly, then they would what they call put on these oxygen masks so that they could breathe and cover their eyes, because the oxygen mask has a sort of perspex over it so that it covers your eyes so that you could breathe air without breathing in smoke and cover your eyes without getting smoke in your eyes. So that would be the idea of the crew oxygen. It's invariably manually supplied in the sense that the crew have to pull out the mask from its respective box. So these boxes are located around in the vicinity of the crew members where they sit. There's an oxygen cylinder under high pressure, okay, with a flangeable disc. So if there was a overpressure, it would burst and expel itself out of the aircraft. Now this is the aircraft skin here, and on the aircraft skin, this here, you'll see a green disc. Okay, inside this section here is painted yellow. Okay, it's painted yellow so that if there was an overpressure, the oxygen would come out and blow out this green disc. So this green would no longer be visible. What would be visible is the yellow behind it. Okay, so when the engineer is doing his walk around inspection, even the crew before flight, they're walking around and they're looking for a green disc. If there's no green disc there, they'll see a yellow area, and that yellow area indicates that the oxygen cylinder has overpressured, blown out, which means an indication to both engineer and crew member, go and have a look at the oxygen contents, what the quantity is here on your ECAM or on the bottle here by the direct reading gauge to see the quantity of the oxygen bottle in case it's completely depleted. All right, we don't want that before departure. We need a minimum amount of oxygen before departure because we need to have the facility to breathe at altitude if there was a rapid decompression or an emergency or smoke or et cetera. So we can see from this circuitry here that we can electrically, this is an electric signal via a switch here, crew supply it's called, open this valve. Okay, so this is usually switched off in the night. During the night stop, it's the last thing the crew do before they leave the aircraft. And if they don't do it, then it's usually the mechanic's job to switch the crew supply off. And this eliminates the possibility of oxygen coming, low pressure oxygen, and coming into the manifolds and in any way leaking out and depleting the bottle. Okay, so usually what happens is you press this button, the off light comes on, which means this valve is closed, and this valve is closed, cutting out all this air, all this oxygen that's in this section here. And when that eventually leaks out, then you get the regulator low pressure here, because it's telling us that there is low pressure in the line because the line is closed. There's no pressure pushing, okay, onto the pressure regulator and the transmitter assembly. So that's the way we have oxygen available by pushing this push button on. We have oxygen available at any time the crew will pull the mask out, put it on their face, and breathe. Now, you'll see further down the line for the passengers, it's automatic. They drop out the PSUs, the passenger service units, whereas the crew have to manually don the masks on. Well, the crew are the most qualified to know when oxygen is required, and that's why they manually pull them out, whereas the passengers don't know when they will need it, and they'll know when they need it because the oxygen mask will just drop right in front of their face. And the cue is, if you've done a pre-flight demonstration or listen to a pre-flight demonstration, is when it does do that, put it on. Okay. All right. And there is also we can see in this picture this red covered push button which says mask manual on. Okay. Right next to the passenger system on. Okay, this is an automatic indication. Okay, automatic indication that the system is functional in the auto position, which means at a certain differential pressure. So when the cabin, not when the aircraft, when the cabin reaches a certain altitude, then the oxygen masks will automatically deploy if the system is functional. Okay. If we want to override the automatic function of the automatic function of the oxygen system, the pilot can at any time manually open the cover. The red, irrevocable. Red means it's one time only. Once you open this and push the button, all the masks will deploy, and that's it. They'll be like that for the remainder of the flight. Or if you do it 5 minutes before the passengers embark on the aircraft board, or before the crew comes, then you have a hard job putting all the masks in and preparing the aircraft for departure.